Good evening. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Wednesday, the 7th of January. My disclaimer, I'm here to do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at CTM The Bigger Picture, subject.com. Is published on YouTube after a delay of a week. All right, okay, let's have a look at ES, where we saw relatively bullish day today up until it turned, and we've seen some retracement. This actually is a pretty good thing and something I was watching out for, and I'll show you that on equities, and then I'll show you what I'm looking at on crypto as well at the end. All right, meantime though, this bull flag broke up and made target. On NQ, the bull flag broke up and made target, because the target was the retest of this high here. Didn't quite make it up to this retest, and which actually we do have a larger bull flag that's broken up with a target at a retest of the all-time high. Don't know if we're going to make that, but in the short term, this bull flag has made target already. RTY, the big flag here has broken up, and we haven't made the target yet, but I am thinking I think this is a pullback, and I think we are going to see a full retest of this high again afterwards. On YM, obviously we'd already seen a new all-time high, nice pullback there. We had a 6-minute sell signal brewing this morning, I was talking about it, and we had one brewing on RTY as well. 60-minute sell signal is fixed on RTY, but hasn't made target yet, and may make the possible near-miss target overnight. On YM, it's already made the target. DAX, we had a sell signal and it continued higher, so we've been just seeing more and more new highs on DAX and STX. So we have seen a sell signal fail here, and on ESTX we've still got a sell signal. It's gone higher since, but not as hard as DAX. So I'm still waiting to see if that is going to fail the sell signal, which it may or may not. Hang on, just need to test something. Interesting. All right. Anyway, okay. So that's where we are on the futures. Let's have a look at those on the big picture. All right. SPX on the daily charts. Obviously, we are well above the daily middle band. We've almost reached the daily upper band. We did see an overall red day today after the reversal at the high. And we will see how it goes from here. In terms of the hourly chart, we have a bit of a pullback. We've still got a pretty nice looking nested double top here. We haven't gone high enough to compromise that pattern as we have on Dia, I think. But we will see how that goes. On the 15-minute, we had a sell signal that made target. We do have a pretty nice looking rising wedge here, and this is a pretty decent looking resistance trend line too. I am wondering if we're going to go down and test this support here, in which case we need to go down another 50 points. Don't know if it will get that far, but just something to mention. All right, Qs. Qs on the daily chart, we haven't reached the daily upper band there either. No current divergence. But here we've got a bull flag channel, and it's quite a large one. It's coming from the all-time high, and it's broken up. So I'm thinking, as and when this retracement is finished, we'll likely go higher and reach that target. Seeing pretty much the same on the 15-minute. Now, one thing to mention here, in terms of the signals here, we've just about reached the 70 here, so we're not really in a position to set up a daily RSI 5 sell signal. But if we retest the high, possibly we could get a weak one going, but it would be pretty weak. Qs, we haven't even reached the 70 level yet, but on Dia, we've gone well above the 70 level, and as long as it doesn't get below the 50, when we retest the high here, we could set a possible daily RSI 5 sell signal brewing there, and we've got the same again on the IWM chart, which we'll come to in a minute. Okay, looking at the 6-hourly chart here, I'm considering an possible alternate trend line here, and thinking that we may have reached that. So bear with me a moment. I'm just going to have a quick closer look at that trend line, because actually the top of that candle is actually there. And that is perfect. That was a hit of trendline resistance. And that means this this wedge has now expanded. That trend line's been superseded, and that is the new rising wedge on Dia. It's and that's looking pretty good. So we're pulling back here. That doesn't mean that we can't come back up and retest this and make a high and perhaps overthrow. But that is the rising wedge from the April low on Dia. In terms of the hourly charts, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. We had an RSI 5 one, but that's already made target. All right, let's have a look at the IWM chart. So bear with me a moment. All right, looking at IWM. We've got on the daily chart, we've seen a test of the daily upper band, and we almost made the retest of the high. That's we didn't quite make it, and that's fine because I'm expecting to come back and make a higher high after this little retrace. Not sure when the retrace finishes. It's not got an awful lot of sell signals still live on it here, but here we had a beautiful bull flag. This is one I was showing, I think, on my post last Friday, and that's broken up, and it's got a targeted retest of 257.34, which we almost made today, and that's the new all-time high, of course. I'm expecting to do a bit of consolidation here, build up a bull flag, maybe retrace a little more, possibly get down to the 253 area, but after that to go up and retest the all-time high, in which case we'll then have a nice looking double top here. We'll have a nice looking double top on SPX. Possibly, if Qs can actually catch a bid, even get one on there too. Dia, it would need to be something else because we've made a new high with too much confidence. So we will see. Looking at DAX, already retested the new all-time high there. And Nikkei, very close to a retest of the all-time high, and I'm expecting to do that on the next sweep up. But I am thinking that on a lot of these, we may be seeing a pullback to then form daily RSI 5 sell signals. Nikkei would be one of them. IWM would be another. And DAX wouldn't be, I don't think. If only because we haven't actually seen that retracement yet. We could see it tomorrow, but obviously no pullback, no signal. So we need a pullback and then a retest on negative divergence. So we will see how that goes. All right. Let's have a look at DX. Now DX, we're back over the broken double bottom resistance. I'm still liking the upside here. Let's just have a look at the other currency pairs to see how we're doing on the patterns. But broadly, they've been pretty supportive. We've got a nice looking double top, which is broken down on the euro with a target in the 1.16 area. On GBP USD, we've set up a very nice looking double top, and we've seen a very encouraging decline today. This is nice rising wedge. It's broken down. We formed a double top. This is a nice setup to go down on. It's really pretty solid. USD JPY just trading sideways, but we have an open target back up at a retest this high, which would be a fit with the dollar going up, because obviously USD JPY and USD CAD both go up when the dollar goes up. USD CAD, we've been seeing a pretty impressive move. Nice looking IHS, which has broken up and made target. This could arguably be another IHS here, but it's not clean, I don't think. What would be better is if actually at this level here, which we've reached, that we pull back here, form a right shoulder, and then maybe go up. But we will see. Maybe it just goes up anyway, but either way, as long as it keeps going up, well, that's consistent with the dollar going up as well. We've got a possible double top here on Australian dollar. We've got a possible double top here on NZ, so we will see. But do we have a number of things which are supportive for the dollar going up? Yeah, we do. All right, let's have a look at the currency pairs on the bigger picture. And, okay, US dollar. US dollar, bigger picture, of course. We've got this double bottom which is breaking up, and we've seen a deep retracement. That does not necessarily, this could mean that this is failing back with a target at a retest of the lows, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean that. Although I would say, as I have mentioned, we've got a nice, very, very nice looking overall bullish setup here. Bull flag, nice looking double bottom which is breaking up, and that is encouraging. For sure. On the other hand, we've got the US dollar not being in a great position. Obviously, US hasn't been making many friends lately. We've also got the yen, which is, I've got a chart which I'm going to be showing for the chart of the day, I would have thought sometime this week, but I'm just going to pull that up for you because that will show you what I'm thinking here. Now, one of the reasons that the Japanese are holding so much, over $1 trillion in US Treasuries, is because for years their treasuries were, the Japanese debt was paying nothing. So that's changed. And that has changed significantly. And if I can just dig up the chart I've got here. Here we are. All right, bear with me. All right, this is the yen 30-year yield chart for the millennium so far, and you can see that we have broken out of very low levels, and back in 2016 it was basically paying absolutely nothing, and this has come back up to 3.51. Why is this significant? Because Japanese have been holding treasuries because they were paying something, and yen debt wasn't. That's changing now, and we may well find a lot of yen debt goes back into domestic 30-year treasuries. If that's the case, then obviously that will reduce demand for the dollar. And I've got another chart here I just want to show you here quickly, which is USD roll in reserves. And you can see that obviously in recent months, not particularly surprising, the last couple of years, we've seen gold. Gold has actually gone up considerably, and the dollar has come down considerably. Now, partially that's down to really, and actually you can see here, basically, this has gone down 10% while gold has gone up 10%, and mainly that's due to actually just the increase in the price of gold. But you will notice that the dollar's been going down more than these others have. So this is the euro, this is the pound, this is the yen, and this is gold. Gold is actually coming fairly close to overtaking the US dollar as the largest role in global reserves, but it's still the biggest at the moment at 40%. But it was up at 70 or 80% 2 or 3 decades ago, and it's been on a decline. Not all of this is down to the fact that we've been seeing gold going up. Partially, it's because there is no plan currently in the US to reduce debt that appears in any way meaningful. And the other thing is that we've got of course, the Fed's been this steady hand, such as there's been backstopping the economy for ages, and Jerome Powell's term ends in May. After that, Trump will have appointed his own Fed chair, and he has made it very, very clear he wants someone who will obey his orders, and likely he will get someone. That's going to reduce a lot of confidence, international confidence in the integrity of the dollar. And certainly, if the Fed tries to reduce interest rates to 1%, well, that's likely to rebound, and Treasury yields may actually go up a lot. Because I don't think Trump understands, and an awful lot of his rather incompetent team don't understand, that the Fed doesn't really control interest rates. The price that their borrowing is set by Treasury yields, and that's set by the markets, not by the Fed. Anyway, so the administration is not doing anything really to inspire any confidence in the dollar. Nonetheless, this is a beautiful bullish setup, and it has a shot. And I'm waiting to see how that delivers. It's backed up by, obviously, the big bear flag on the euro, the big bear flag on GBP, which are basically distorted mirrors of the bull flag on the DX chart, and they are nice. They are very nice, and we will see whether they can deliver anything. If not, well, that wouldn't be altogether surprising. And I think on the bigger picture, the road for this move up here from 2011, this road ultimately ends in a much larger retracement here, and the dollar going down quite a bit. It's not really a question of whether that's going to happen. It's more, I think, about, in terms of probabilities, it's more likely a question of when. All right, so the question is, do we do a big move up on the dollar first, or do we just skip that and go straight to the decline? Okay, Euro USD, not an awful lot to say here. We've got a nice looking double top, showing absolutely no sign of breaking down at the moment. In terms of GBP, This actually looks like a bull flag more than anything else, suggesting that we would see a move up here, which would involve a move down on the dollar. So we will see. USD JPY, potential nice little double top here. I'm wondering about a pullback, but it could just continue higher. USD CAD. USD CAD, we had a nice buy signal. That's already made target. This IHS has failed. Normally, I'd be leaning towards seeing a retest of the low. At the moment, it's heading heavily in the other direction. But you can see from what I'm saying here that actually, in terms of the hourly charts, I've got quite a lot of support for dollar going up here. We haven't got an awful lot in terms of the daily charts. So we will see how that goes. But yeah, we will see. So bigger picture, I think it's just a matter of time before the dollar goes down. But smaller picture, I'm thinking we could see a decent rally here, and maybe that could turn into something more. Short term, NZ's got the nicest pattern to the upside here, which is an IHS has broken up with a target in the 6100 area, but of course that's more of a match with the dollar going down. So as I said, on the daily chart, there's not an awful lot of support for the dollar going up here. Okay, in terms of ZB, on ZB, we've been seeing a bit of a rally here. Really, we're just trading sideways, to the extent that I am actually wondering if we're forming a triangle here. And I have actually got a triangle drawn in on ZN. Does this affect the bigger picture? Probably not. And the bigger picture is actually looking fairly bearish for the bond market. On TYX, this is suggesting that we will see, looks like a bull flag breaking up with a target at a retest this high here at 51.53, and that would involve a significant decline on 30-year yields. On the 10-year yields, we've got what looks like a probably bullish triangle and a decent looking reversal pattern that actually, this is a version of the IHS where it hasn't broken up yet. I've got an arguably better one which is already broken up, and with this would be a bullish triangle, and the target would be here up in about the 43.9 area, and that again would be a big move up on bond yields and a big move down on bonds. FYV, this is the 5-year yield, which I've started looking at just for confirmation on the others. And again, this looks like a triangle. It looks a lot like a triangle. And actually, my trend line's moved slightly here, but if I adjust it to move that, then it's pretty much a perfect triangle. And in context, this would be a bullish triangle. So again, not looking great for bonds. Now, it could be that all of these will fail and will go the other way. It's just that the balance probabilities would normally be that they would go in the obvious direction. And the obvious direction is bonds down. In terms of TLT, pretty decent looking head and shoulders that's broken down with a target in the 84.7 area. And again, obviously, that would be negative for bonds too. We'll see how that goes. This looks like a bear flag forming here. You see the slightly higher low here. It's a pretty solidly bearish looking setup. So I'm leaning significantly bearish on bonds, and I think we're just trading sideways before we make a significant move down on bonds. All right, let's have a look at CL. Now CL, I'm still wondering about a retest of this low. We had a sell signal that delivered hard. Went a little lower in HO. I am wondering here whether we might be bottoming out, possibly, but I've got more to say about this on the daily chart. RBOB, we've actually got a pretty nice looking level bottom here too, here already, and I'm thinking that might deliver. I would like to see a move back over, a break back over this declining resistance trend line. And obviously this is double bottom resistance up here in the 1.77 area. Looking at NG, possible double bottom here. As I've been saying, and I said on Sunday, this is an inflection point here, and natural gas could either head down significantly further, I basically continue down, or we got a potential double bottom here. And we're in an inflection point where it's deciding which one. At the moment, this is not showing any particularly strong move in either direction. All right, let's have a look at those on the big picture. And on WTech, we've got, obviously, on the bigger picture, as I've been talking about for basically all of last year, I think, we've got these very nice looking falling wedges which are broken up, and we could be forming reversal patterns. That reversal pattern on W tick would be a double bottom, and we've gone down far enough to get it. One thing we're missing here is I'd normally expect to see some positive divergence, but we've got none of that on the monthly chart, and we haven't got any of that on the weekly chart, and actually we haven't got any on the daily chart. So normally I'd be expecting to see a little more for this. But I'm wondering about that, and I've got another chart here, hang on, which I'll show you. This is from my collection of charts, which are going to be charts of the day. This was one I captured today. This is a record oil short level, which is actually the biggest oil short level. This goes back to 2007. Now, one thing I would say here is that if you look back to 2007, what were we seeing there? 2007, we were seeing a significant uptrend, but that uptrend didn't actually end until about halfway through 2008. So if you look back at the short-term position here, this was basically all uptrend until you got to here. So how much does this mean in terms of an immediate turnaround and basically shorting for oil? Well, it doesn't really mean a great deal. The last big period we also had was 20 to 22. Let's see how that looks. All right. Okay. Here didn't look really like anything. I'm not sure how much to take from this chart, but it is interesting that oil shorts are at huge highs at a level where we should be finding quite a lot of support, and have so far been finding a lot of support, just because an awful lot of oil producers aren't really making any money below a lot of them aren't making any money below 60. An awful lot more aren't making significant money below 50. So at this stage, you're not going to get that many people. This is one thing that we've been seeing this year, is Trump's been saying drill baby drill, but he's also been pushing oil prices down and getting his Saudi friends to cooperate in increasing production. Of course, that means an awful lot of the American companies who might be interested in getting more oil out at higher prices aren't particularly interested here. If this gets pushed down, that's only going to become more the case. I think this is kind of a natural low area. But in terms of the reversal patterns, we've got a nice looking double bottom on WTIC. On gas oil, we have another nice looking double bottom. In terms of heating oil, we've got an IHS here that broke up and failed. Normally, I'd be leaning towards this heading down and retesting the low, and this would be an alternate reversal pattern. It would be a double bottom. We haven't reached that yet, and we're going to need to drop another 5% or so if we are going to reach it. So just mentioning that because I don't think we're quite in the right area for that yet. This IHS having broken up and failed, normally I'd be looking for a low retest. We'll see. Okay, looking at natural gas. Natural gas is thinking about it at a significant level, which is the monthly middle band, and the I think it's the 200-week moving average at 3.44, and the monthly middle band at 3.31. This is the support that we're hitting here. We haven't necessarily really hit that fully. I do have a support trend line, which is all the way down here at 2.5. But in terms of the daily chart, we have no current positive divergence. We did have a sell signal at the top here, which is really delivered. We've got a decent looking possibility of a rally here. We're trying to claw our way back over the 200 DMA at the moment, and we're a long way away from the daily middle band. So this might just be a counter trend rally, or this might be a full reversal. But I have to say, this reversal was so steep, from 5.5 to 3.3, so basically dropped 40%. Which is a lot, even by the standards of natural gas. It's so steep that I think this really counts as a pretty strong rejection, and I'm leaning towards continuation downwards rather than a big rally. We shall see. In terms of the chart here, I haven't drawn in the wedge, but I've drawn in a pretty good looking wedge, which has broken up and is rallying a bit on the hourly chart. We will see. But we've got No current divergence really. We will see how that goes. Okay, let's have a look at GC. Now we've seen some consolidation here, but the picture here really is we've got a very nice looking IHS here on GC. We've got that's broken up with a target in the 45.50 area, and we've got a week 6-minute sell signal fixed, and that is currently in the process of making target. This looks like a bull flag, so you can see what I'm thinking here, which is that we're probably going to go up and retest this high. Now, could we see? There's a lot of talk that we've got a big reversal coming and a big consolidation for a while on metals, and for sure they've had a really, really nice run. And I've been saying that I was expecting to see another retest the highs, and I'm not seeing any reason to not expect that at this stage. But what I would say is that as and when we do retest the highs, that would set up a nice looking double top, and that could be the start of a retracement there. So that's something I'll be watching for. Meantime, sell signals pretty much making target. SI, the sell signal has pretty much made target. We had a head and shoulders. I was calling the numbers on that today on the post-market charts, and that's got a target down in the 73.15 area. This is already retested the high. I think we've probably got more to see before it breaks down, but it's obviously a pretty nice looking double top here too. On palladium, we've got an IHS which has broken up with a target in the 2010 area. This kind of looks like a bull flag forming at the moment, and the 60-minute sell signal, because we did have a raft of sell signals fix here. The sell signal here has reached the possible near miss target. On platinum, sell signal has reached the possible near miss target. Nothing particularly obvious in terms of reversal patterns here. We've got an IHS which has broken up with a target up at a retest this high. In the event that that fails, that would fail on a break of this low here, which we're actually getting quite close to. I've got that at 2155. Could this be an alternate head and shoulders breaking down? Looking at it, yes. So if we do see a breakdown, I would have a target for that in about the 1980 area, I think. But really, I'd be looking for a retest this low here and a possible larger bull flag. All right, HG. HG is an interesting one because I actually marked this in earlier as a possible head and shoulders forming, and that's now broken down. Let's have a quick look at the target for that. Because one thing I was planning to point out today was that we've actually got some very nice looking daily sell signals brewing here on copper. So we could see actually quite an impressive retracement here, even though the initial 60-minute sell signal has already made target. Now here on the head and shoulders, that would be the arrow going up and arrow going down. So we would have a target on this in about the 5.54 area. And I'm thinking that's got a decent shot at making target because we've got quite a lot of negative divergence on the bigger picture chart. Let's have a look at that. Okay. Let's do copper first because we've just been looking at it. And this has a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing and a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing. In the short term, possible topping action, but obviously on the hourly chart, we've got a pretty nice looking little double top. It's not big, but it is significant, and that's broken down. This could be part of a larger topping pattern, head and shoulders, and you can see the initial head and shoulder target is getting us pretty close to the next large possible head and shoulder target, which I've got in about the 5.54 area, and actually the target for this would actually be in about the 5.57 area. So pretty close, we will see. But wouldn't surprise me, well, I'm kind of leaning towards that making target given the setup on the daily chart, and it could be that we'll form a large pattern when we get there. I've still got mixed feelings about copper. In terms of housing, house building appears to be in the toilet. A lot of manufacturing not doing too great, and I think the overall economy, apart from data centers in the US, is probably in recession. But having said that, I have been reading they use a lot of copper in building data centers, and they are building a lot of data centers. So maybe that would be enough to keep this up. The normal things that would be keeping copper up are going down. So I would normally be looking at this like I'm looking at lumber and thinking, price could go down a long way from here. But in terms of the data centers, that's more of a question. So we'll see. All right, let's have a look at the rest of those. In terms of the gold chart, Do we have much negative divergence here? Nothing on the monthly, because wow, that looks like that looks like the Himalayas. On the weekly chart, we do have a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing, and we've got an RSI 5 sell signal which is fixed. Now I do take these seriously. It doesn't necessarily make target. I would say the last RSI 5 sell signal we had here on the chart failed, and actually the one before failed as well, and the last RSI 14 sell signal failed. So whether these would actually deliver anything, I don't know, but we do have significant periods of consolidation. Here's one that lasted, 5 years with a pretty obvious bull flag. We had another consolidation period here between about 2022 and 2020 and 2023. So, and we've had a series of little triangles on the way up. So maybe we are due for another. And it is something that we tend to see fairly regularly. In terms of silver, silver on the futures, we retested this high. On the spot price, we haven't retested the high. No negative divergence unless we retest it on the spot for the daily chart. But I am wondering about, it has been an amazing run on silver. So I am wondering about maybe seeing a retracement here. On palladium, we've already got an RSI 5 sell signal fix and an RSI 14 sell signal fix, but to be honest, so many of these have been failing on the precious metals charts. I'm not sure how seriously to take them. On the IHS chart, we've got an IHS which is broken up with a target in the 2550 area. That's at an earlier stage than the platinum one, which broke up a while back and made it to the target, which was a retest this high, and the extended target, which was up in about the 2480 area. So that's already done a very, very nice run. We've got sell signals fixed there on RSI 14 and RSI 5. There is a case definitely for seeing some retracement here. We'll see whether we get it. In terms of the daily charts here, not an awful lot to see on GDX, but I would say we've got a nice looking little potential level top here, and we've got a similar one on GDXJ, and on the hourly charts, no short-term negative divergence really, and we still should go just a little higher here to retest this high on GDXJ. But nonetheless, overall, if we are going to see a retracement, this isn't an awful setup to see that. We shall see. All right, great. Let's have a look at the commodities charts. So, bear with me a moment. All right, coffee. Coffee, we were forming what looked like a bear flag. It broke down. I was expecting a larger bear flag to form, and we broke up from that. That was unexpected. More to say about that on the daily chart, but that was, I was thinking this might just be continuing down, and it's showing signs of life. Sugar, this looks an awful lot like a bear flag, which is forming. CC, this looks like an awful lot, well, this is a bull flag channel, which has been established, so the obvious way for that to resolve out would be into a retest of this high here. On cotton, if the cotton chart will condescend to join us. All right, let's have a look at a couple of the others. Lumber, we had a bear flag, broke down, retested the low. We've got a potential level bottom here, but I'm leaning towards it continuing to the downside. Has cotton arrived yet? No. CW, we've got a pretty nice looking potential level bottom here, and we do have some indication on the bigger picture chart that we might see a nice rally here. On corn, we've got this very nice looking 3-touch support trend line. Now, generally speaking, these don't come alone. These are matched by a matching trend line on the upside, but it's not entirely clear what that matching trend line is. This could be a triangle forming. This could be a slightly expanding megaphone here, waiting to see where the next high lands. But there is an indication from this trend line that we're probably going to see some more upside. On soy, potential bottoming action here. I've got to say the Chinese haven't really, this was all about the Chinese finally buying some soy, and this is about them not actually buying much soy. So unless that's going to change, I'm not sure how much action we're going to see in the soy market. This looks like a bear flag megaphone forming on ZL. So I have questions on soy, but I'm leaning towards the downside. But we do have some indications on the bigger picture charts that these might go up. On live cattle, this has broken up over the weekly pivot. I was saying this didn't look like a double top, and it appears it wasn't. This isn't quite a signal here. This high is higher than this one, which is why we don't have a signal. On on lean hogs, we've got a very nice looking potential level top, which could break down and give us a larger retracement. Needs to get through support at the monthly pivot if it's going to do that. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Sorry, that's crypto, which we'll be coming to. All right, coffee. We've got a very nice looking double top here, and it broke down, and I was kind of expecting it to continue going down. But if we are going to see it break up, then I would be looking for a break up over the weekly middle band. I've got the 3.87, and we will see whether it can do that. In terms of the daily chart, no current divergence. This could just be a rally after a breakdown from a pattern. Quite regularly see those, although at the moment this doesn't look anything like a bear flag anymore. So we'll see. Looking at sugar. We've got this big head and shoulders, which is broken down at the target in the 9 area. And at the moment, I'm not seeing anything really suggest it won't make that. I've got a couple of options for like a falling wedge, but they're not great looking options. And I've really got nothing suggesting that this isn't going to head down to that target. It just doesn't seem to be any particular hurry to do so. Looking at cocoa, bigger picture, again, like coffee, this is a long way out of its long-term comfort zone. And we had a big support break below this, some support at 64.27. My lean is towards the downside. We had a buy signal here, a couple of buy signals here that made target. We've seen a pretty decent rally. This could be bottoming action for more upside, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see this just continue to the downside. All right, looking at wheat. Okay, it's not wheat that I've got the buy signal on, but it's breaking back over the daily middle band. We can see some more rally here. On corn, we've got obvious move would be a retest of this high here. We've also got an IHS here, left shoulder, right shoulder, which is broken up with a target in the 495 area. I'm quite liking the upside here if it's going to support it, and I do think there is an indication on all of these that due to tariff troubles, that the and limits in the availability of potash this last year, that the yields on the American crops are going to be rather low this year, and that does mean, of course, that the prices on all of things might go up a lot. We will see. That will, in fact, actually, that's the sort of thing that can actually cause some significant hunger problems in the world as prices go up. So I am thinking that we could be seeing a big rally on this starting over the next few months. And on the bigger picture, I'm thinking that looks pretty reasonable, and might even find some buyers on soybeans, which have been fairly thin on the ground lately. But we've got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed here. We are seeing a bit of a rally. Can it get back over the daily middle band? I've got that at 1058. We shall see. All right, looking at cotton. Cotton could definitely see a big rally here, but I don't think we have the same sort of advantage. Not sure how much cotton is made in, well, I suppose a fair amount of cotton is made in the US. This could benefit as well from the potash shortage and reduce yields on lumber. We've got a big flag here, which I've been following for 3 years, and it went as and when this breaks down, which it normally would. That'll have a target to retest this low at 352.50, and we've already got a smaller double top, which is broken down with the target basically in the same area. I am leaning short on this, and I've been leaning short for a while. I've been following this pretty closely for the last year, and we actually broke down for a double top here in August. And so far, we've just been trading sideways from that. I'm thinking sooner or later, lumber will be heading down, and we'll see a sizable move to the downside. All right, great. Let's have a look at crypto. Okay, now this brings me back to something I was talking about on equities. I was saying that if we saw a pullback on equities here on the daily charts, then we could set up some daily sell signals. But on Bitcoin here, we have come too far. We've gone below the 50 area. You can see the candle has finished there. So that's not going to happen on Bitcoin. Bigger picture, I think we are forming a flag. I think we're probably going to go up higher. within the flag, and ideally we'd head up into this trend line here in about the 97 area, and then I think we're going to go down again. And on the bigger picture, I think there's a pretty good case for us getting down into this big support area in the 74.4 area. Looking at Solana, potential double bottom here. I'm thinking this could break up and fail. If it didn't fail, the target would be up in about the 170 to 75 area, I think. And if it does fail, then that would be ideally a break up over this resistance here at about the 146 and change area, and we'd fail 150, 155 and head back to the lows. So if we did that, then what I'd be looking for is to finish making this head and shoulder target, which is at a retest this low here at 95.24. Are we going to see an RSI 5 sell signal here? We could do. It hasn't gone down as much as Bitcoin. It stayed above the 50. Retest the high here. We could set up a nice looking RSI 5 sell signal. We had an hourly, and I think we might have had on Sunday, but we had an hourly RSI 14 sell signal fixed on Bitcoin. That's now made target. We had another one of those on Ethereum, and that's now made target. Ethereum, again, we've gone too low to set up a daily RSI 5 sell signal. Here, this could be a triangle forming. Doesn't really look likely to get up to this trend line here. I'm wondering about some kind of a triangle forming here, but could definitely see a higher high before a reversal back down. And actually, potentially, any higher high of 34.55 leaves this as potentially a conventional flag. We shall see. After that, after this consolidation, and when equities is next seeing a swing down, which I think could be within 2 or 3 weeks, we will see how that sets up, but as and when, I'm looking for this head and shoulders to make target in the 2050 area. All right, in that case, I think that's a wrap, guys. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys again on Sunday. Cheers.